Is it worth spending $3,000 on an AR-15? On this video, we're going to be going over the Radian Mod 1, and we're going to be going over the pros, the cons. We're going to get a little nitpicky towards the end, which I think if you're spending that kind of money, you have the right to nitpick at this and make sure it's exactly what you want. But you might be pretty surprised with some of the things that I found with this, some of the attention to detail where that price tag kind of skyrockets, and kind of my final thoughts with this on if this is really worth that price tag. Let's just go ahead and get the 30-second breakdown out of the way. This is the nicest AR-15 that I own, which it should be. If you're spending that kind of money, it gosh dang better be. But that's gonna check number one box off is this worth that price tag? Is it better? Does it look better? Does it shoot better? Yes to all three. This gun is pretty dang phenomenal, and I was really impressed with it when I shot it, and that was one of my biggest things is, okay, I wanna make sure I'm not just paying for a fancy name or a really nice style. I wanna make sure this thing actually stands out from the rest of the guns, and that's kind of what you're looking for when spending that extra money, going to that next tier. You know, you have your budget tier, your mid tier, your high tier, and then kind of this may be even a class above that, honestly, but you wanna make sure that you're paying in getting that class. Now, what I'm gonna say is, if you are somebody, I want the best of the best, I do not care about budget, then this is probably one of just a couple that I would recommend. This is a really, really good rifle, and you're gonna be incredibly happy with it. But if you're somebody that just wants a really solid rifle, something that's gonna do everything you need it to, but you just can't justify spending that kind of money, then this gun just isn't for you. And that's okay. This is just kind of in a class in its own, and that's okay. But that is in this video what we want to figure out. Is it worth that price tag? Or are you just paying for the name? And that's what we're going to be going over with the breakdown. And there is a lot of attention to detail and a lot of things that I didn't even know that Radian does with these guns that really steps it up even more above the rest, which I thought was cool. So I had about a 40-minute conversation with Radian, and I was like, listen, the biggest thing my viewers are going to want to know is what makes this gun stand out? What does this have that these don't? You know, what is my money going towards? And there's a lot of really cool little features that we're going to be breaking down. Some that you see, some that you don't, some really just kind of just nifty little things that they put in there that I think is pretty cool. And then there are some cons about it as well that I think are really important that we need to discuss, and just the nitpicky stuff that I'm going to hit on as well. But first, let's go over my relationship with Radian. Always want to be completely transparent with you guys. They did send me this rifle along with the new 6mm ARC, which we're going to be talking about a little later. They sent me those. I did not spend my own money on them. Real quickly before we continue, the companies that are incredibly helpful for the things that we do here are Vertex Bag and Magna Lens. Magna Lens are these glasses here that have these magnets, and they clip on just like that. And the benefit being that you don't have your sunglasses under there causing a headache for long periods of time. It actually has a better seal because there's nothing breaking that seal when you wear these. And I have a full video here if you guys are interested in all the benefits of these things. And then Vertex, this is actually their brand new Any Day pack. As you can see, it's got the tag. I just got this one in. Absolutely love their stuff. Been carrying their stuff for over 5 years. Really enjoy what they do as a company and all the things they come out with. They come out with a lot of clothes as well. Using code Tactical Advisor will save you 15% on any of their backpacks or clothes. If you go to my website, tacticadvisor.net, you can check out how to save on the glasses along with the backpacks as well. Appreciate you all. Let's get right back into this video. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into this. And the build of this gun is one of the things that stood out to me as something pretty cool. They have one person put together your gun. This is not an assembly line gun. This isn't like, all right, I'll put these D10s in, hand it off to the next guy, he'll put these D10s. One person gets your order, puts your entire gun together, and then sends it off to an entire team that their only job is to sand burrs. But that is what they do. They send it out and they sand every spot and speck to make sure there's not a single burr or anything that is out of place with this gun. And after inspecting this thing, I can confirm the burr guys did a really good job in just making sure this was really sanded down and clean and smooth in all the spots that it should be. Now, the next thing I noticed when I picked this thing up is the gun just feels solid. There's some guns that you pick up, and a lot of you know what I'm talking about, is it just kind of has a wobble, it has a play. You pick it up and it's just kind of wiggly, like it is what it is. It creaks, it rocks. And as those are fine and they work just fine, there's no issues with them, it just kind of feels better when that gun is just one solid piece, and this is, you know, there's no creak, there's no wobble to it, and not a lot of people know exactly why that is. And most people think there's a screw in here that a lot of, you know, more budget brands do. They'll tighten that thing down to really lock that in. What that ends up doing downside wise is you can never open up your upper and lower because it's so tightened. With this, there is a pin in there, and it has like a spring to it, but it's not your traditional tighten down until it's as tight as possible to move it. What they did is they added this small ledge to the front of your lower here. And you barely can notice it, but it's a ledge in there. And when you shut your upper and lower, it stops right there. And there's a little bit of gap. And the reason there's that gap is because there's that ledge. And then you push it down just a little bit more. You have to put tension down, you lock it, and it really creates a tight seal in there. And obviously the fact that they just cut these really nice, and the burr guys again come out and clean all that up, make it a really tight fit. But that ledge right there is what is really the claim to fame with that tightness of this and making sure you're getting that good connection and losing all that wobble. A couple nice things that you're not seeing on the outside. I promise we'll get to the outside, but we're kind of going over the interior stuff that really stands out to me that makes this different. You got some anti-rotation pins in here to make sure your rail does not move down. This looks monolithic. It looks like it's all one piece. It is not. They just did a really good job designing it to make it look that way. And looks-wise, it looks incredible. It looks different. When you put it next to another AR15, you're like, okay, that looks different. And that's another key to that. Is it worth the money? Is there something different about it? You know, when you're looking at what is it, the Knight's armament, you're still spending a ridiculous amount of money, but it's like, it doesn't look any different, man. Like there's no difference between this and my Palmetto State Armory. It looks the same. With this, it's like, okay, like, I guess it looks cooler, and it does. It looks really cool. But that's always a nice benefit. But it's not monolithic. It's just designed that way. But they have the anti-rotation in there, so you're able to put your night vision setups on here, your IR devices, and not having that moving to mess up with your zero. You have a timing notch here on your gas block, so that doesn't rotate. You also have all of your little springs and detents are threaded. So instead of being able to push your detents in and then shooting out halfway across the world and you never be able to find them, they're all threaded in. So that's just a little detail that's pretty cool. Another thing that's neat is Radian makes almost all the parts. This even comes down to the takedown pins is made by Radian. And I think that's neat. I think it's cool when a brand puts all of their stuff on it because they really trust their stuff. They're not putting other brands in there. There's obviously some other little stuff in there that's other branded, but for the most part, it's all of theirs, and that is cool. Going down to the trigger, so this is always kind of a question. Is the Radian trigger, is it better? Is it something you would replace? What is the claim to fame with this trigger? This is basically a Timney trigger. If you like Timney triggers, you're gonna love this thing. It's a two-stage trigger, and it's nice. It feels good. It's not what I prefer in a gun. I always prefer Geisley STCs. I like their two stages there. I think those are incredible triggers and probably would be replaced, in my opinion, especially if I was using this for like a duty use or a home defense. You got the ADAC lower. The ADAC lower is known for being one of the best ambidextrous lowers. They did a really good job with the design. You've got controls on both sides, and it's not the same as what you see from a lot of these brands. A lot of the brands kind of have the same style. You have like the ADM looking lowers that a lot of these brands are going with. I would say Radian's the one that stands out and is a little bit different. I think the controls are really easy to use. They're really easy to get used to. And another cool feature is when you use your magazine release, it locks your bolt back. Kind of neat. So just able to quickly be able to lock your bolt if you need to, and then you can send it home that side, you can send it home this side, but everything's right there where you're already touching, your hand's already at, easy to use, and just a cool, unique feature that I haven't seen with another lower that they do with this one. Now going to attention to detail, one of the coolest things that I just recently noticed, and I did confirm with Radian, is I had my Radian or my Magpul mags in here, and I noticed the design of the mag just goes all the way in and continues through the lower. Does it matter? Not in the slightest. Does it do anything for my gun? No. But it's just a cool attention to detail that I think is a cool design because most people use Magpul mags. This is the majority of magazines that people use. And when you put it in there, it just has a continued look that I think looks sharp, and it's just one of those things I think's neat. Radian reached out to Magpul. Magpul was cool with it. They did it. They threw the design on there, and I thought it was a pretty cool idea as it does literally nothing. It's just one of those attention to detail things that when you're spending the extra money, I want some kind of cool little things in there, like little Easter eggs, I guess you can call it, that I think's neat. Another thing, when it comes down to like the detail thing, did they have to do this? Is this something they needed to reinvent the wheel? No. So your forward assist and your deflector, you're gonna notice it's like kind of odd. Like, that's weird. It looks like a shark fin or some weird like animal. Like, what is that? Actually, little known fact that most people didn't know. I didn't know this. Why is the right side a different size than the left side? And that's because your forward assist in that location, this allows you to get around that a little bit easier. So what Radian did in knowing that the forward assist is kind of designed in the wrong spot, they just moved it. So that forward assist is in a different location. That's why the deflector's in a different spot and it looks a little funky. I like function over looks. So to me, it functions better because it's out of the way. You can still use it, but it doesn't get in my way when manipulating my rifle. So I think it's a really good decision moving that out of the way. And just another thing that they could have just been like, nah, we'll just keep it the way it is. They decided to move it and try to improve it. Now we're just gonna jump to one of the downsides because it's gonna kind of go along with the next thing I wanna talk about, and that's gonna be the weight. That is a downside. This gun is heavy and it's noticeably heavy. It's not like, it's a little heavy. It's like, you pick it up, you're like, she thick, like this is a big thing. So that is definitely a downside. When you get this gun, it's gonna be a little heavier, especially when you start putting stuff on it. I'm a big proponent to getting things on your rifle. I wanna get a flashlight, I wanna get an IR device, I wanna put tools and devices on this that I'm going to use. Now obviously if you don't have night vision or anything, don't throw a freaking IR device on it. But if you using this gun, put the tools on it to help it be more efficient. So to me, that weight is definitely something I want to mention. Is it a make it or break it thing? It's gonna be a personal preference, depending on what you're gonna use this rifle for. Now, they fixed that. So as it is a con, it seems kind of like it's going away. With the new one here, this is the 6mm ARC. There's another one that we're testing. I'm really excited to get some rounds with. They fluted the barrel on this thing. It is 15% lighter. That to me was a really good decision. And again, just a little attention to detail. When the flute from the barrel, it will match the flute from your buffer tube. So you'll have like a seamless flute all the way through. It's just kind of cool. I like those little things. I like little things that companies look into and change and make kind of unique. But they added that fluted barrel. That helps with the weight. Still a heavy gun, not as heavy now. They have their safety selector in here, 45 degree. You can put it to a 90. I personally like 45. Some people don't. Personal preference, totally fine. Let's move up here to the muzzle device. And this is a chemo device that is pin and weld. And I gotta say, one of the best pin and weld I've seen. Again, for the price it better be. That pin and weld better be freaking perfect. But this is a downside for me. Don't like chemo. There's been a lot of issues with it recently. If you guys have been following this, there's been a lot of problems with chemos and sending your suppressors downrange and ruining them. So I've been kind of switching everything away from that. Now what I will say, how they kind of alleviate that issue for those of you that like, absolutely not, I want plan B or whatever your like preferred suppressor muzzle device is, they will install whatever muzzle device you want. You just let them know, hey, this is what I want. The downside is, you're gonna have to pay for the muzzle device. So it's obviously gonna be a little more expensive and that price tag's already pretty high. So you'll have to add a little more, but you can get this with a different muzzle device from the factory. They will put it on for you. So that is pretty cool, but not a huge fan, not my favorite, but I haven't personally had any issues. I've just seen a lot of problems recently. Now, when shooting this, we probably should have talked about this earlier, but the reliability of the gun has been incredible. Have not had a single problem with this gun, and that is exactly what I want. That makes reviewing this gun a lot easier. It's like, okay, cool, I've shot it, I've had zero problems with it, and I love it. Shot first non-suppressed, and then everything since has been suppressed. So I shot the first 100 rounds non-suppressed, everything since, I'd say the next 500 to 700 rounds have all been suppressed on this rifle with no problems, and that's what you want to see. You want to be able to shoot this any way that you want and make sure that it's running the way it should. All right, we've talked nicely enough about this for too long. Let's go over, hit some cons real quick. One of those is obviously gonna be the price. I don't need to hit that too hard. I think we're all aware of that when we're talking about this. The next one is gonna be the lead time, 13 weeks. That is such a long time, and that fluctuates. Obviously, it gets lower depending on orders and how quick they're able to get those out, and it gets higher sometimes. But that lead time, obviously, that's gonna be a make or break for some people. You know, hey, I want this rifle, I don't wanna wait 13 weeks for it. You know, I wanna be able to get this gun in now, and I wanna use it and everything else. So that is a downside in my mind. Another thing that I'd like to see, and maybe this is nitpicky, but I had to add a part here to be able to put my sling. This is a solid enough handguard, and I think that really easily could have added a reinforced QD point for me to put my sling on there. I would have liked to see that. Maybe they did it because they want to keep it sleek and they don't want to add that on there because maybe some people don't want it. But me personally, I would have liked to see that on there. I don't want to have to add anything to the handguard if I don't have to. And when you're spending that extra money, I would rather see that put in there as well. All right, now let's get into the really nitpicky stuff. Man, for the price, I would really like to see a different stock than just the basic Magpul stock. I think they could have done better. I think there's better options out there. As I don't think this is a bad stock. I think it works good, and I actually have it on my patrol rifle along with a couple other nicer rifles that I use. It's not a bad stock. I just think there's better options out there, and you have some with storage, maybe better cheek well, maybe a little beefier, but maybe that's the design. Maybe they want it to be a little more low profile, but that could be a personal preference for some people. I'm just being nitpicky, okay? I'm like, don't get mad at me if you're like, man, I love that stock. I love the Magpul stock. It's a good stock. It works great. I just think it could be better. That is just kind of nitpicky things. I would have liked to see them go with something a little nicer on the stock for this. But I gotta tell you, all in all, They did a really good job with this gun. It shoots really nice. It stands out from the crowd, and that's what you want when you're spending this extra money. Does it stand out? Is it just another AR-15 that just happens to have a cool logo on it and look a little nicer? Or does it truly stand out when people grab it, they shoot it, they say, okay, it's something different? This video is already getting pretty long, so I don't want to hold you guys too much longer, but there's a couple other little things I want to touch on, but we'll make them quick. So the staking on the gun looks good, the BCG looks good, after all the rounds that I've shot, everything's tight, works well, there's nothing like loosening or weird or like, oh, that's odd, like that shouldn't happen. There's some cuts on your bolt carrier there that are designed to help clean the gun when shooting, because obviously when you're shooting suppressed, it's gonna be incredibly dirty, but it's supposed to help get some of that stuff out and allow everything to run smoother. It appears to be working. The gun's working just as fine, and it's smooth. These do have a lifetime warranty. It's really nice to see because you'll just have this gun for the rest of your life. This is the 6mm ARC, and this is becoming really popular because the fact that it's just a small frame AR-15. You have to put it on an AR-10 platform, and it's pretty easy to rotate between, and it just seems like the caliber is pretty nice. There's a lot of good data out there on it, so I'm really excited about this. I've got a handful of new 6mm ARCs that just came in that we're doing a lot of testing on, that we're really trying to see, is it better than what we have? You know, is it better than the 308? Is it better than all the other 6mm whatever there are? So many freaking calibers. I swear, I don't know how I haven't blown up one of my guns accidentally putting the wrong caliber in these things. I gotta be really careful with that sometimes. But just another caliber to go out and buy that's obnoxiously expensive, but it does have a lot of benefits, and I'm excited about this because I think the 6mm ARC is gonna be one of my new kind of go-to calibers just because of a lot of the benefits that I've been seeing. But if you guys have any questions or you're curious about anything with the 6mm ARC, let me know in the comments. I'd love to answer those. Hope this video was able to help you answer those hard questions. This is one of those ones you're going to have to do some research for a while. You know, make sure you're spending those pennies in the right place. It's always my goal to help you spend your money in the best way possible, that you can be confident in your purchase. Be like, no, this is exactly what I want, or be confident in not getting it. So if you guys are looking about the channel, things I'm doing here, there's a lot of ways to do that. Down in my description, there's a link to my website, tacticalvisor.net. There's a lot of really cool things there that you guys are going to want to do and check out. I have a subscriber or a subscription list for an email. We're going to be doing email blasts soon. We keep putting it back. We're trying to really get some things rolling, but sign up for that if you're interested. We'll get that stuff rolling here soon. Check out Howitzer Clothing. They donate 5% proceeds to charity, and they have a Tactical Advisor shirt using code TA15 will save you 15% on your order. Howitzer Clothing, and save yourself a bunch on some sweet clothes. I wear their stuff all the time. I absolutely love it. I usually end my videos in a Bible verse, but I want to end with this. For 28 years, I pretended to be a Christian. I pretended to be this person that I wasn't. I was lying to myself, I was lying to God, and I was lying to a lot of people. It wasn't until I truly gave my life to Christ that my life has absolutely changed. And I have a video here, my whole testimony. It's like a half-hour long. I highly recommend you guys checking it out, and I would love it if you guys would watch it. I think it's really important and one of the best gifts that I can give you. You know, I could give you great information about an AR-15 helping you save some money, but this right here, the Bible, is the absolute best thing I can tell you about. The devil wants you to be as physically close to God as possible without having a relationship with him. I had that for 28 years. I was on the fence, but I tell you what, the devil owns the fence. He's gonna snatch you off that fence. When the time comes, that door is gonna shut and you're not gonna have an opportunity to build that relationship. Build the relationship now with God while you can, and I promise you, it won't be easy. I'm not promising you riches or glory or greatness, but it is the best thing that you can do because God will reward you tenfold in heaven. Our life is but a speck here on earth. For the rest of eternity, we will be rewarded. And if you have any questions, need any help, give you resources, I'd love to help you out. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much.